So let's first swap this around. I feel very much Greek already, by the way, because the things that you have to do when you're in Greece, as far as I understand, is first I was offered ouzo, ta-da, done. I've got myself an iced cappuccino, iced coffee, done. And I'm starting too late, done. I feel Greek. Awesome. So, I love that you asked how many managers are in the room. There was a lot of hands going up. Some a bit reluctantly, almost scared to admit, yes, the word manager is somewhere in my long title. And I'm a manager too, but actually I was not a manager when I started my career. I was a software developer, like many others in this room. I studied software engineering at the university in Delft, in the Netherlands. And let me see if this works. Yeah, it works. And I started as a software engineer, but I was probably so bad at programming that my teammates begged my CEO to promote me away into a management position where I could do less harm. So little did they know. So I started managing, and I had absolutely no idea how to manage people. I knew how to work with computers. That's what I was doing. So I treated software developers as computers on legs with hair. I tried to give them instructions, didn't work. They never followed them. Very unreliable computers they were. I tried debugging, even worse, I can tell you. Don't do that with developers, it's worse. So I was pretty bad as a manager. And like many other managers in the world, I treated the organization as a machine. I had no clue how to work with people, and for me the organization was a machine. And that is a metaphor that I and others use very often for bad management. Thinking of people as the parts in a machine. So I had one job after another, all of them failed. I had a history of failure behind me. At one point, I even considered, I was sitting on the couch, on the sofa at my home. I thought, maybe I should turn this into a business model. Just hire me and give me a job at your competitor. I will manage them to destruction. I can guarantee that. That business model also failed. Ultimately, everything has changed. Apparently, I'm here on this stage, which is awesome. I'm in Brighton tomorrow in the UK, and then in Newark in the USA on Monday. So people want to hear me for some reason. I learned a few things in the last couple of years. Well, last 15 to 20 years, I would say. And I'm going to share some of that with you. But there's no one silver bullet. There's no one best way to be a great manager. The British would say there is no holy grail. But who cares what the British think these days, right? Not me. But there are 7 silver bullets. I found that there are actually 7 silver bullets in order to be a great manager and have more successful results with your organization. So I'm gonna give you some examples of that. First of all, one thing that I learned is that all managers want to change things. Change management is a big part of our work. And that is easier when we share food. That's a psychological thing. If you share food with each other, it is easier to have other people adopt your ideas. I live in Brussels. I know that all the important deals are done when people are having lunches, right? When they're having dinners with each other. That's something that the Dutch, like me, whoops, someone fell off his chair. That's something that the Dutch, including me, had to learn in Brussels, that the real stuff, the real negotiations are done in the lunches and not in the meetings. So I once invited my colleagues, when I was CIO, Chief Information Officer of a company of about 200 people, I invited them to my house for dinner. And I picked random people, like 2 software developers, an account manager, project manager, system administrator, and the senior vice president of the pencils and paper clips. And then I got them to my house, and when they arrived, I told them, and now you do the cooking. Surprise! They thought that was odd. So they started self-organizing. The developers would take care of the main course. The account manager and the project manager started cooking the appetizers. The system administrator said, okay, I will do the desserts. And being a system administrator, he said that nobody got access to the chocolate without permission, of course, and filling out a form. And I was managing, which meant I was looking at other people doing hard work. Oh, and I prepared the environment, by the way. That is an important management job. I created a system for them, an environment for them to be happy and productive together. And that is, I think, a nice metaphor for management. I prepared that environment. And I nurtured the happiness that emerged in my kitchen. I have another example, another thing that I tried. I was once talking with my CEO at the time. It was 7-8 years ago. And I said, we never celebrate anything. We always rush from one project to the other. We should, every now and then, should stand still and enjoy what we achieved. And he said, okay, what do you suggest? I said, well, maybe something that makes a bit of noise, like a bell or something, because we had a big open office space in Rotterdam, the Netherlands. 2 weeks later, he came to my desk with this copper ship's bell. It's a big bell. They gave it to me, and they said, here's your bell. Now, do something useful with it. I was like, whoa, awesome, big bell. So, I took the bell, I brought it to the office police, the office manager, I mean, of course. And I asked her to place it next to the coffee machine. And from that moment, anyone in the company was allowed to ring the bell for anything. There were no rules. You just ring the bell, and then everyone around the office, about 150 people, they would get together, hear what the celebration was all about. They quickly figured out that there would probably be cookies and cake when you heard the sound of the bell. So it would be smart to go to the coffee machine immediately. And then the person who rang the bell would explain what there was to celebrate, like a new project delivered, a big client. Sometimes a baby was born, not in the company, of course, but for an employee. And that was a big fun. The last time I heard the bell was when the CEO rang it and announced to the whole company that I had just quit my job. True story. So I did that to add a bit of playfulness to the office. I thought that would be fun, just ringing a bell, making a lot of noise, and celebrate. Adding a bit of playfulness. But also, it was, for me, an experiment. Can I create a culture where people start celebrating things together? Because that's fun and that's important. And it turned out that I could. They still have the bell, they told me, and they're still ringing it. And I'm proud of that. And by running more experiments, I increased my pace of learning. I started learning faster as a manager. Another example. Many managers use contracts with employees, with suppliers, with customers, etc. They love contracts. And I hate contracts. I hate contracts. Sometimes you need them, but very often they're just annoying bureaucracy. And the problem with contracts is they limit people's freedom and happiness. So as another experiment, right now, with my current team, I have no contracts with my workers. Nothing at all. And there's nothing written down. We just work together. This is how my team feels about that right now. They look pretty happy to me. So at any moment, anyone can say, I would like to work from Bali at half of my productivity. I say, well, we have no contract, so let's make it work somehow. It's easier to make it work than find a replacement, which is much more effort and annoying. Or when they want to change their job titles, they have no job titles because there are no contracts. They can call themselves anything they want. We have a zookeeper, we have a chief geek, we have a project bottleneck. Seriously, the stuff that they come up with, it's ridiculous. But they're having fun, and that's important for me as a manager, because they're having fun and being productive. Some people find that innovating, having no contracts, I don't know if it's innovative, is worth trying, and so far it works. And I find that important because then we can focus on more meaningful products and services. By not focusing on time and location, we can focus on what we're actually building together, which is much more important. So, those were the 7 silver bullets. Let's recap. Let's go through them one by one, starting with the last one. I think it is important that organizations have a purpose. I'm not the only one. Simon Sinek and many others say, why? Why is your organization here? What is it that you're trying to achieve? What big problem in the world are you solving? Build product with meaning. That means that we have to innovate, not only in product delivery, which is what Agile is all about, Scrum, in innovation in product delivery, but also in the management around it. That has to be innovative too. That means that we have to run more experiments. We have to learn faster because the world is changing faster. Run more experiments all the time with faster learning. And scientists and researchers know that experimentation is optimal when there's 50-50 chance of succeeding or failing. Maybe I will get to that at the end. Add a bit of playfulness, like the bell. People only run experiments when they're having fun and being playful with each other. But they don't play when they're not feeling happy. When children aren't feeling happy, they're not playing. So we need to be happy as people in our work. And I cannot make people happy as a manager, but I can definitely create an environment that increases the chance for them to be happy, as I did in my kitchen when I invited my colleagues for dinner. So these are the 7 silver bullets. It starts with managing the system for more happiness, and then hopefully with playfulness, experiments, and learning, you end up with innovation and more meaningful products and services. For the managers in the room, I have a special version of this slide where everything is presented as 7 boring bullet points with some cheesy clip art. Always adapt your message to the audience, right? Always, very important, very important. So with these 7 silver bullet points, you can be a better manager. I will give you some more examples, things that I tried in the last couple of years. I was at an event in Barcelona, the Agile Lean Europe Unconference. It was a couple of years ago. And Jim McCarthy was speaking there. He is famous for Software for Your Head and other books. And he said, you have one thing wrong in the Agile community. You're always talking about co-location. Thou shalt have the Scrum team in the same room, otherwise you're evil and you end up in hell, or something like that. He didn't say it like that, but that's how I interpreted it. He said, the goal is not to have people in the same room. It is useful. If you can do it, do it. But the trends are in the opposite direction. Flex time, remote working, distributed teams, dispersed teams, virtual offices. Let's not be dogmatic about putting people in the same room. He said the goal is not geographical closeness, the goal is mental closeness between people. And I sat in the audience and I thought, yes, of course, that's it. We should be mentally closer to each other. Because if we are, then it doesn't really matter where we are physically on the planet, because we love working together, even when we are remote. So that makes sense to me. And then I thought, how can we be more mentally close as team members? I have 12 team members in 10 different countries on 4 continents. We have no office. How can I do that? Mental closeness. So I started mind mapping. I thought mind maps are a great practice in order to get to understand a topic. Well, what if that topic is a colleague? If it is a person that I would like to work with? So I started mind mapping myself, and I started mind mapping with others on the team. Like, this is the map of Lisette. She is our zookeeper, as she calls herself, our remote office manager. And she already adapted the practice because she used pictures. So awesome. She used illustrations and photos. And then the trick is, you do not present your personal map, you ask questions about the personal map. Because we all know what the extroverts will be doing once they start talking about themselves, right? It will go on and on and on and on and on and on and oh my God. Not allowed. You make your map, and then others ask questions. Like, hey, Lisette, why did you have pink hair over here? And then Lisette said, oh, I was 19 years old, and you know how it is. You're young, and you do silly things. And then we have a great discussion about the silly things that we did when we were young. That is team building, right? That is getting to know each other. I have others. This one is by Hannu. And Hannu is our web developer, and it's totally clear that Hannu is from Finland because there's almost nothing on the personal map, as you can see. This is typical for people in Finland. Seriously, my friends in Finland pride themselves on the fact that they do not use too many words. They're very economical with their language. They have to be, because in Finnish the words are 5 times longer than any other language, right? So they have to be really, really terse. My name is Hannu, I'm from Finland. All right, awesome. So, and then the questions got started. Where in Finland, Hannu? Helsinki. Ultimately, we got a conversation going, really. Hannu is awesome. I met him earlier this year for the first time, face to face, and we sat across the table and he said, this doesn't feel like we see each other for the first time. Because we already had been working with each other so much over Zoom and Skype and all those modern tools we have nowadays. It didn't feel like that was the first time we met. And that is good, because there was mental closeness. Here's another one. This one is by Sergey, who is obviously our software architect, as you can see. Awesome! These are all people expressing themselves with their favorite tools. All these maps are fantastic. This one is very colorful. Dave from one of my early workshops, and Terry, and Nicole, and oh my God, Julio, engineering manager, of course. Great! Yeah. There are no good maps or bad maps. These are people expressing themselves. And this was an experiment that I tried as a manager, and it worked. The team loves it, and now they insist with every new person that we hire, they want to see their personal map. We're going to talk for like half an hour, we're going to ask you questions, and our maps are still on the Google Drive, so you can look at them and you can ask us questions as well. That will be the very first session that we have as a team. Some more suggestions, some more stuff that I have been trying. Did you know that the word management is from the Italian word maneggiare? It means handling horses. Isn't it nice? Management is about leading horses. That is originally what the word is about. In my language, Dutch, manege is a place where we keep horses. It's from the same root. I love it. It's a great metaphor. The organization is not a machine, it's a living thing that you have to take care of, that you have to nurture and feed, and hopefully it doesn't bite your ears off. Right? That is what management is about. I like that metaphor. Now the problem is, many managers have absolutely no idea how to lead the horse. They have no talent in horse leading and horse riding, metaphorically speaking. And then the horse has absolutely no idea where is the fence and where can I roam around freely. Because a fully self-organizing team without management is like a wild horse. There's nothing wrong with wild horses, but I'm not going to sit on them and try to steer them in the right direction. That is bad management. So what we need is to stretch this metaphor even further, is we need the bridles and the spurs and the reins and the fence, because we need to lead the horse in a certain direction as the leader. Now many managers only see 2 options, dictators and anarchists. Either I do the work or they do the work. And they don't realize that there are steps in between. I'll give you some examples. Level 1, that is, I tell people what to do. I give them instructions, pure dictatorship. Level 2 is I try to convince them of my opinion, but I still make the decisions. Level 3 is I ask them what they want. Like in some organizations, vacation days, for example, is traditionally a level 4. People file their vacation day requests, and then the manager says yes or no. Right? That is, the manager decides, but you can tell them what you want. Level 4 is in the middle, between the manager and the team. It is consensus. It is democracy. It is, I call it the typical Dutch approach to decision making. We talk and talk and talk until most people have died of exhaustion. And then the survivor makes the decision, basically. And then level 5 is the opposite of 3. Now the team makes the decision, but they have to ask me. I'm the advisor, I'm the coach, I'm the consultant for them. They can ignore me, but they have to hear me out, because I have some smart suggestions. Level 6 is inquire. I will ask them afterwards, just keep me informed. And level 7 is pure anarchy. Like with vacation days, you arrive at the office and every day is a surprise who is there and who is not. That will be level 7 of vacations. Right? Now, this is a symmetrical model. I like that. I like that because it shows that there's a respectful relationship between the manager, the leader, and the team, the horse. It is not only managers delegating stuff to teams, it is also teams delegating stuff to managers. Am I standing right there for the photo? Does this look good if I do it like this? Yeah? All right, good. It's also the team delegating to the manager, because teams want to produce stuff, hopefully, make great products. And there's stuff that they want the managers to do. Make sure that the kitchen is in order. Make sure that the office is good. We don't want to buy our own computers. We just offer some suggestions and then you do it, right? So you can visualize this. Agile people love visualizing stuff. Visualization is good for the human brain. So we can visualize to the horse where the fence is. That is what it is about. So in this case, vacation days, very traditional, level 3. It says, all right, we file our vacation requests and the manager decides. That's possible. That's possible. But team membership is a level 5. Here you see, 5. That means that the teams decide who is on which team, but they have to ask the manager, the leader, for suggestions. All right. And with these kinds of delegation boards, you have clarity. You simply show quite clearly where the fence is, and then people can self-organize. Because quite often the problem is that people have no idea where the fence is, and that is the real problem. This is a picture from Bulgaria, but it's actually a Dutch company. The connoisseurs would be able to see that this is a Dutch company. Let me tell you something about Dutch people. I'm Dutch, so I know, right? Dutch people have this interesting paradox between freedom and order, right? There's this clash. There's an interesting clash. So, for example, has anyone ever flown into Amsterdam Schiphol Airport? Anyone? Anyone flown into Amsterdam? Yeah, lots of. Have you had a look outside the window just before landing, and did you see all the fields that are nice and straight and all very rectangular and squarey? Yes? Yeah, it looks good, right? As if Mondrian himself painted the landscape. Yeah. Now, most of what you see down there is probably marijuana. But we Dutch, we don't care what you grow as long as you grow it in a straight line. That's important. Because otherwise we have anarchy. We cannot handle that. We cannot handle that. So we see the same thing here. With this delegation board, it's fascinating. So this is not eating, it says seating. So the issue here with the slide. So this says seating. Seating arrangement. So I tell you, you sit there, you sit there, you sit there, not on that chair, that chair. Stay seated, all right? Perfect chair for you. All right. Maybe with little nameplates for everyone. Pure dictatorship. But at the same time, salaries are all the way delegated to level 6. You pay yourself anything you want, I don't care, whatever, as long as you stay seated in the right chair. That's important. You cannot pay yourself a salary from the wrong chair. That would be chaos. That would be chaos. We can't handle that. That's Dutch, purely Dutch. I have a few more. This one is from Poland, where they invented a new level 0, which probably means I'm not even going to tell them what I decided. I don't know. Could be. I don't know. I love it when people adapt my ideas. Here's another one from Germany. Complicated. Lots of rules. I love it. Actually, this is a great blog post from a company in Hamburg. They changed the board 90 degrees, so the levels are vertical, which is fine. And they use different colors of sticky notes to indicate different roles. That makes sense to me. Like a software architect can make other decisions compared to a tester or whatever. Yeah, I understand that. Or if you're a junior developer, you cannot make the same kinds of decisions if you just arrived last week compared to a senior who's been around for 10 years. You don't get the corporate credit card the day after you arrive, right? That makes sense to me as well. There's a game called delegation poker that you can use to basically ask the horse where it thinks that the fence is. That's a great exercise. Just ask the team where they think the boundaries are, and then have a conversation about that. Delegation, fascinating topic for managers, and very important, I find. Here's another important topic: values, culture. This is a screenshot that I stole from a company's website. Does anyone know from which company I stole this screenshot? Anyone? Anyone? No? Just shout it out. Which company? Not an oil company, no. Volkswagen, yes, bingo, ta-da! You win the washing machine. Yeah. So this is Volkswagen. Our values are responsibility and sustainability. Silliness. We all know what Volkswagen did, right? It was on the news everywhere. They claimed that they were focusing on responsibility and sustainability. Do you know what was the real value, the real purpose at Volkswagen? Anyone know? Anyone know? Profit, not profit. A very specific goal that they had. No? Profit, no. Market share. They wanted to be the biggest. They wanted to be bigger than Toyota. That was a simple message. Toyota was the biggest car manufacturer. They wanted to sell more cars than Toyota. That was a clear message. This was on the website. But what was communicated to the people was very important. We were going to be the biggest car manufacturer. So they did everything they could to be the biggest. And they were the biggest for 4 weeks until, as the British say so beautifully, the shit hit the fan. I love that expression, really. I love it. I try to insert it anywhere I can. So the problem here is, as Agile people would know, is there's a lack of a feedback cycle. Is what we say that we're doing on our website also actually what we're doing for real, right? There should be a feedback cycle there. What that was missing somehow, not only at Volkswagen but many other companies. So what I do with my team is I have a value stories channel on Slack, because we are a distributed, dispersed team. And we use Slack for communication. One of our channels is called Value Stories. And here we simply discuss things, actual stuff that we're doing that is important to us. And that are probably somehow resonate with our values. And you know what? People remember stories. They remember the discussions that we had about difficult things that would lead to integrity or honesty or kindness or anything else. And many companies come up with lists of values, like we are for responsibility and sustainability and diversity and honesty and excellence or whatever. Can you remember those values? When I go to the supermarket, I cannot even remember 3 items. Then I come back with 2, and then I'm at home and say, oh my God, I forgot 1 again. So if I cannot remember 3 items at the supermarket, I definitely cannot remember 7 items on a corporate values poster or something. But I remember the stories. I remember the discussions that my teammates had on Slack about interesting things or difficult stuff that we had to make decisions about. And these stories, they should be shared. I know companies have value books, culture books, where they share stories or photos of people actually practicing what they preach. Zappos is a famous example, wonderfully looking culture book created by the employees themselves. There is the little book of IDEO, the famous design company, where they have statements such as, be optimistic. Well, are they optimistic? I would like to hear some stories of IDEO being optimistic. Because if they don't have such stories, it's just a useless expression. So you have to compare the values that you document with the actual stories to reinforce those values in the culture. I'm sure some of you have read the book Reinventing Organizations by Frederic Laloux. It's very popular in the Agile world. Great examples it has. And Laloux says some organizations have yearly company-wide value days, right? Where they revisit the purpose, values, and ground rules and inquire how they live up to them. You see that? They actually get together to discuss, are we doing what we say that we should be doing? That makes sense. There's one little problem here. Once per year. That's not often enough. That's not often. That is a very long feedback cycle. It's a fine practice, but it's not enough. You should have something where you discuss values like every week, I would say. There's a popular quote that went around on the internet last year. Thousands of retweets. This one got, the culture of any organization is shaped by the worst behavior the leader is willing to tolerate. Many people recognize this. If there's something bad happening in the organization and you do not intervene, then this will be the culture of your company. It was big on the news just last week. Wells Fargo in the US. People faked credit cards just to achieve their bonuses in the companies. Managers even incentivized it. It makes no sense. Everyone was cheating, basically. That is the culture, then, that you end up with. Now, I prefer the positively phrased version, which is like this. The culture of any organization is shaped by the best behavior the leader is willing to amplify. This is my version. Sadly, it did not get thousands of retweets yet. I'm counting on you here right now. All right? Help me a little bit. I think we need both. We need both this one and this one. It's a bit like in marriage. Like, if you're critical towards your partner, then you need 5 compliments to make it good. Yeah. That is in organizations as well. If you intervene with bad behavior, that's important. But then also emphasize 5 times more often the good stuff that is happening in the company. And that is how you grow a culture, by always tending to the garden. I like that metaphor as well. Managers are often compared to gardeners. You cannot do the growing of the plants, but you can tend to the garden. All right. Last 2 examples. Let's see how many minutes I have left. Oh, about 12. Okay. That's good. Money. One of my favorite topics. I just talked about bonuses. I just referred to bonuses briefly. There's this practice all around the world of giving people a steady amount of income throughout the year, and then some people by the end of the year get a lot more. This is the traditional bonus system. Usually what is practiced is that managers apply Zipf's law or the Pareto principle or the 80-20 rule, which means 80% disappears in the pocket of the manager and 20% goes to everyone else. That's so kind to share that 20%. That's so kind. So some people say that doesn't work that well. We need better bonuses or we need no bonuses. Some people say we need no bonuses. We should get rid of bonus systems. Just pay everyone a steady amount of income throughout the year. And I do not agree with this for a very important reason. Do you know that drivers on average, 70% of drivers think they are above average drivers? That makes no sense. Yeah. 80% of college professors think they are above average college professors. That's ridiculous. These should be smart people. They're professionals. They should understand the concept of average and 50%. No. Among professional keynote speakers, I'm quite sure 90% think they are above average. I read it again yesterday in another book. They did research. They asked students, management and leadership students in the US, 90% thought they were above average leaders. That's impossible. So they did research there. I read it on Science Daily a couple of months ago. On average, the overestimation effect is 40% across teams. Because they asked people on teams, how much did you contribute as a percentage to the team results? And then they added up the percentages, and they ended up with 140 on average. So there's always overestimation. And by the way, the bigger the team, the more people overestimate. Because that makes sense. If the team is big, you don't really know what the others over there did, but you sure know that you did a lot. I remember that. I was working all night yesterday. I have no idea what they did over there, but it cannot possibly as much as I did. That's how people are. So when you pay people the same amount of money, then by the end of the year, 70 or 80% will be disappointed because they think they deserve more. It will not be true, but they're people. That's how humans are. So it doesn't work that well. We need to distinguish between how much people actually contributed. How do you do that? Well, this is what my team does. We have a steady amount of income throughout the year, but every now and then there's a little bit extra. How do we determine how much? Well, this is what we do. Every month, at the start of the month, we have 100 points. And we credit each other for their achievements, like 10 points to Vorans for helping me out today, 5 points to Lisette for your super fast response times, 15 points to Hanu for not killing me when I screwed up the web server. I'm so sorry. So thank you for not being mad. And these points that they get from each other, they build up over time. Now, as the business owner, every month I set aside some bonus money, depending on the performance of the whole system. Right? Depending on the performance of the whole team, I add a bit of money every month to the bonus pot. So the only thing left to do is to pick a good moment to decide to convert the credits that people earn from each other into the real money that is available as the bonus money. This is how we do that.
Okay, dice. Oh, come on, big money, big money. Everyone give it a kiss. Come on, lucky dice. We love you, we love you. Oh, it's a 6.
Woo, 6.
Can you see? Can you see that?
We have a simple company rule. At the start of the month, one person throws a dice. And it has to be recorded, it has to be on video, so everyone else can see if they couldn't join. Right? If that person throws a 6, we pay out the bonus money. No 6, no bonus. That's it. Simple rule. The bonus is still there. You can try again next month. You won't get it unless you throw a 6. So the benefit of this is that people have no idea when they get the bonus. We all know what happens when people are promised a bonus in December. They will have spent the money before they even received it. And when it is less than expected, oh my God, only 50 euros, but I already shopped at Louis Vuitton yesterday. Well, that's your own fault then, is it? With my team, it's impossible, because it could take years, theoretically. The bonus is getting bigger. It's like a jackpot. They feel it's like their own little Las Vegas casino every month. I love it. So that is how we deal with bonuses. It is completely unexpected. Of course, people ask me questions all the time. Maybe you have questions for me later. Like, Jurgen, does this become a popularity contest with the most popular extroverted people getting the most bonuses, most credits? I don't know. Could be. But it is, you already have a popularity contest with the traditional bonus system. Right? It is called kissing the boss's ass. That is the traditional bonus system in place in many companies around the world. Yeah. The person who is best able at kissing the boss's ass gets the most bonus money. Yeah. On my team, it is like democratized ass kissing that we have. I can tell you, I have to kiss a lot of asses in order to get a decent amount of bonus money. I mean, yesterday was Jennifer's ass, today is Andy's ass, tomorrow Sergey's ass. I see asses everywhere. My God. Well, that's what it means to work on a team that is trying to appreciate each other's contributions. And yes, there might be problems. Hey, you guys invented democracy. It's not easy, isn't it? But it's far better than dictatorship. So let's just continue solving the problems with transparency, for example. So in our team, all the bonuses, all the credits, everything is all transparent. You can see everything that everyone gave to each other. And then we solve the problems along the way. All right, last 3 minutes. Last 3 minutes. What do you think? Should we celebrate failure? Should we celebrate success? Some people say we should celebrate failure. Some people say, no, we should celebrate success. There are even conferences where people just celebrate failure. Fail conferences. They just get together and say, yay, we screwed up. Woo-hoo! How many of you say, yeah, every now and then it makes sense to ring the bell, to celebrate when there was failure? Yes. Come on, just raise your hand. Yeah, just celebrate failure. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. All right, all right. How many of you say, no, it's better to celebrate success? That makes more sense. Let's just celebrate success. How many of you say, let's just celebrate everything, failure, success, whatever, party all the time, this is Greece, whatever. That makes no sense at all. Okay, this is the real deal. Last 2 minutes. Celebrate failure is this part of the diagram that includes your failures from mistakes. Why would you celebrate that you are an idiot? That makes no sense, right? Celebrate success is good, but there is a catch. If you only ring the bell for successes, you incentivize people to move in that direction. You basically tell them to just repeat good practices because those have a higher chance of being successful. And the problem is you don't learn that much when you just repeat good practices, when you only celebrate success. That is why you should also celebrate learning, right? The learning that you do. And learning is optimal when we run experiments. Sadly, half of the experiments should fail. That is the whole point of calling them experiments. I try management experiments all the time with no contracts and random bonuses and all this. That's all experimentation. I don't fear that half of the stuff that I try fails. That's okay. And then we celebrate the learning. So anyone who says celebrate failure has it wrong. They mean, I hope, let's celebrate the learning, even when we fail. All right? That's important to remember. So I call this celebration grid. Some people use it, including me, at the end of workshops or at the end of retrospective. Just get people around the board and use sticky notes or whatever to indicate what are the experiments, what are the good practices, what are the mistakes that we identify, were they successes or were they failures. And here's one from a Dutch company. You can see that's a Dutch company because unlike Greece, they finished right on time, just before 5 o'clock. You see that? Awesome. That's so typically Dutch. So typically Dutch. All right. So all this is, of course, part of the seven silver bullets. It starts with managing the system for more happiness. Lots of experimentation and playfulness in the middle. I hope you recognize that. And in the end, I hope that you see a bit of innovation and we have more meaningful products and services. And that is probably also what all the other conversations this day will be about. Lots of experimentation and good innovation in product delivery. Thank you very much for listening, and I will be around for questions for the all morning. All right? Thank you.